So I know you have a passion for engagement sessions.
Right.
So let's start off with something simple. What is an engagement session and why should couples invest in one?
Traditionally, an engagement session was the term used to describe a portrait session that the bride and groom took before their wedding, which they used for save the date cards, or perhaps they were at their engagement party and they wanted to put pictures up at their engagement party. It was a way to sort of capture them professionally in an informal setting. And they always had a feel of they were a little bit more they were a little bit more static. The engagement sessions, they had more of a portrait feel to them. And as I guess the photography skill and the digital photography kind of grew, some of them started to take on themes as people started to get more creative with it. For me, when I first started doing them, I used to sit at the end of my long lens and shoot people, and I used to get close up, and I used to watch them look at each other and go, what are we supposed to do? What are we supposed to be doing? What are we doing? I don't know. What are you doing? And they would talk. And I realized that they were incredibly uncomfortable in these engagement sessions. And it dawned on me, I'm like, of course, why would they be comfortable? They're not professional models. They're not used to being in front of the camera. Even professional models, which I've shot plenty of, are not comfortable being in front of the camera. It's not a natural thing. So I sort of realized the more you talk to them, the more you communicate with them, the more comfortable they feel. And then I realized a lot of people throw around the terms, using the engagement session to get comfortable with the bride and groom and understand the bride and groom. But then they take them out and they say, we're going to do this with you, and we're going to do this with you, and the photographer all of a sudden creates this wild scenario that is completely disconnected to the personalities of the bride and groom. And the bride and groom trust the vision of the person that they hire. When they hire you as a photographer, they're trusting your vision. They're saying, you make me look good, you make me do this. Okay. And in a lot of cases, they will succeed in doing that, and they'll make them look good, but they haven't really achieved knowing the bride and groom. So my whole philosophy behind shooting a wedding is it starts from the bride and groom, the chemistry that exists from the bride and groom. I've shot 1,000 people over 5 days, and I've shot 2 people who eloped from a Mormon family on the beach in Miami. I've run the gamut. And in every situation, it's the same exact thing. The bride and groom have chemistry, and you're there. Period. It doesn't matter whether you spend $10 million or $1,000. If the bride and groom don't have this energy between them, then what's the point of having the wedding? And that whole wedding is really born from that. And when they go in and the bride goes in, I've yet to meet a bride that doesn't have an opinion about what her wedding looks like. They all do have an opinion about what they want it to look like. And in that case, they do have an opinion about how they perceive themselves and what they consider a timeless photo in their mind. So I said, okay, well then I have to understand the bride and groom. So the first thing I need to do is understand their chemistry. What is it about these two that makes them want to get married? Why are they a couple? Why are they getting married? Why are they in love with each other? What do they dig about each other so much that makes them want to do this? So I invest a lot of time in doing that. The engagement session happens to be an opportunity to spend a lot of time with them in one place. When I book clients, before they give you that check, you're on opposite sides of the table. You're negotiating all the way down the line. Once they give you the check, your interests are aligned. You're on the same page. You both want the same thing. So I take them to dinner. I say, let's talk. Let's get to know each other. I want to see them now relax in a social setting, and I want to see what they're all about. And then we start talking about the engagement session. The engagement session is an opportunity to create dialogue, to start to really get to know these two people. Because I can't tell you how many times I've sat with a bride and groom at booking, and they go, we have no idea what we're going to do for our engagement session. We really don't know. I said, it's fine. We're going to go out to dinner. By the end of dinner, I guarantee you we're going to figure out what it is you want to do. And by the end of dinner, we end up figuring out something that they never thought of in a million years. Because we end up picking out those things about them that are relevant to each other, that are prevalent as far as what guides them or help makes them think or who they are as people, whether they're artistic or whether they're more structured or whether they like fashion or whether they like art, whatever it is. And then the photographer, the creative person, I'll look at these pieces and then I'll put them together and make them into a cohesive, structured composition. I'll go, here, we're going to do this. And they look and they go, oh, okay, that's fantastic. I had one where they sat down and we had no idea what to do. And as we're talking, we find out he has all these vintage cars. His family has all these vintage cars, and she loves vintage clothing. Okay, well, there you go. I mean, that writes itself. So we created period pieces where we did 50s, 60s, and 70s themed shoots using cars from the 50s, 60s, and 70s, and we dressed them up in 50s, 60s, and 70s attire. And it turned out to be 3 shoots. It took all day, and it was fantastic. And it turned out to be so much more grand than they ever thought it was going to be. And it ended up creating, they both bought into it. The key to it is that they were both excited about doing this. They both picked out their clothes. They both picked out their wardrobes. They both, bought into the locations. They were both excited about it. So when we talk about it, it isn't this, oh my God, we're going to do this thing. I have this kind of running joke with a lot of brides. Every one of them say, yeah, but the groom was really not into this. He doesn't know what to do. Of course they don't. Most guys don't want to do this stuff. They don't want to get into it. They don't want to deal with smiling. When are we going to stand there and cheese? But all of a sudden it becomes themed. We say, we're going to create this theme. We're going to create something that is born from you, from your personalities, from who you are. Then it becomes something that they're connected to. They're always going to love these images. And I never have, I mean, knock on wood, I never have a situation where at the end of it they go, I didn't really like it. They all love it. I have the brides are calling me up saying the groom wants to know where the link to the photos is. The groom is showing them off to his friends. Like they're excited about it. And that's great. But then what happens is at the end of that, you spend that time with them. And my engagement sessions do not run 20 minutes or 2 hours or 3 hours. They're all day. We run around all day. I'm flying to New York this weekend to do one. We're running around the city, and we're on the phone today. Just before this call, we're talking because it's supposed to rain on Sunday in New York. She's like, what are we going to do? I'm like, so it rains. Go buy some umbrellas. You know what? We'll figure it out. We'll go and we'll do it. And all of a sudden, she's like, okay, we'll do this. We'll pick this outfit, and we'll do this with the other thing. Right. Because I've spent the time getting to know them already. That they know the chemistry's there. We're going to run and we're going to do it. The engagement session, the process of the engagement session, it also serves another purpose. Until they see their engagement photos, they don't really believe you're going to do this thing for them. They don't believe it. When they see those engagement pictures, that's when you got it. That's when that's when they know from that point on they're relaxed. They feel comfortable that you're going to take care of them during the wedding. Because that's your preview. That's your moment to show them this is why you hired me. That's why you want to do them. So that's kind of where I stand with the engagement session as far as its importance in the process for me, for the kind of photography that I do and how I shoot to make that connection with the bride and groom. To me, it's a very important part of the process, and I invest the time I do into it because it yields me the results that I want down the road, pays me the dividends that I want.